anybody who got a push, if they were the shit, then they didn't last. And if you, everybody's limited somewhat, right? So I'm not great on the stick. That was never my deal. I couldn't go up there and cut a promo to keep you interested, you know? But I could work my ass off. Some guys were better on the stick and were not quite as good in the ring, right? But they were good enough. So it's the whole total thing, you know, it's what you do on the stick and what you do in the ring. So not my place to say anybody shouldn't have got a push or should have, you know? Because if you're that bad, the other top guys are vicious. They'll get rid of you. You won't last. If you're that bad, nobody else is going to want to work with you because that's going to make them look bad. So, and there's lots of guys who probably should have got bigger pushes, you know, that just for whatever reason didn't get them, you know. William Regal, I love William Regal stuff, you know. I would have made him a world champion. He's big, could do anything with anybody. His shit always looks the same. You know, so like sometimes, and his whole English gentleman thing on the stick and everything is awesome. So sometimes he got bigger pushes, but that's all like when Kevin Sullivan, when we got into the big blow off with him in WCW, he told me, he goes, Perry, he goes, I don't see any money in you, so I'm not going to use you. Okay, he's the booker. I don't have a problem with that then. He has to book the guys that he thinks he can book to get over. My problem was that they were us behind our back, you know. But to my face, you tell me that. I don't have a problem with that because you're protecting your job. And my best option maybe could go, well, what do you think I need to do? And some guy like Sullivan wasn't booking us because of the Benoit residual heat. And that's fine. Like at the time, that was bullshit. And we were all very hot about it, and he was hot about it. It was a big circle of everybody not being happy with each other. But him telling me that he wasn't going to book me, I'd much rather have him do that than tell me he's going to put a rocket up my ass and give me this big push and I never get it, you know? Because he's doing a job too, you know? He's made the booker, if he pushes guys who can't work or aren't to the shits, he's going to eventually lose his job. So I don't think that's the biggest issue. Were guys who got pushes who didn't deserve them. It's more the guys who didn't get a push who probably did deserve one, in my opinion. You know, like Eddie Guerrero would have never got the WWE push in WCW. It would have never happened. They missed the ball on that because Eddie was the best I've ever seen, and but he would have never got that push in WCW. Vince was smart enough to know talent and gave him that push, and Eddie ran with it, you know. So I'm sure there's people like that everywhere, you know. And for whatever reason, if you don't catch on with the boss or whatever, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, WWE, Vince was boss. Whatever he said, that was it. Yes, WCW, you could tell a guy to do something, and he would just go, nah, that doesn't work for me. And they'd change it. Chris is going to WWE, and whenever his contract's up 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something. So Eric tells him, you know, that he's going to take him off of TV. He won't be on TV until, what do you call it, because he's leaving, you know. So that's it. He won't be on TV anymore. So I get Eric, and I tell him, I go, Eric, that's really dumb. Why not have, like, let me work with Chris and let him put me over on his way out. Let's get something out of him, you know. And Eric agreed to do it, you know. So we haven't, and then Chris and I talked, and Chris is so smart, you know, and it's probably his idea that, you know, actually it might have been Kevin Nash's idea to do the angle where we did that dumb dog collar match, which was horrible. Fucking chain weighed 1,000 pounds, and it was in the way the whole time. But if I won, Chris was not going to be on TV anymore. And if he won, the stipulation was I had to wear the dress, you know, and I'm supposed to go over. And that's it. Chris is off the TV, and you know, so we get him on one more pay-per-view before he's gone, you know, and I'll get something out of it. Come to the pay-per-view that day, and Eric isn't there. He's hunting or something. And Kevin Nash is booking. And Kevin, he goes, Pete, what are you guys doing? And I go, well, I'm supposed to go over with Chris because they want to take him off TV. He goes, Pete, I'd really like to see you in a dress. And I go, well, I'm fine with me, but that's not what Eric wanted. He goes, well, I guess Eric should have came fucking pay-per-view, huh? So we changed the finish. And then got 2 pay-per-views out of it because then I beat Chris for the next pay-per-view, but and they got him on TV until he left, So and that was a pretty easy, pretty over gimmick, man. People remember me more from that dress than almost like anything, that time. And and I used to have to go to the mall and for TV, and we'd get in towns and I'd go in the mall. Sonny would go with me, Sonny Ono, and I'd have to go to these Forever 21 shops or something and buy a dress to wear, and I'd have to try them on and stuff, and it was so ridiculous, I had and one of them, just being a jackass, I had some real tight mini skirt thing on, and Van Halen, Finish What You Started, maybe, I think, came on the radio, and I around and I jumped up on the counter and started dancing, and Sonny goes, you don't have underwear on, you don't have underwear on. And so I was flashing everyone. Now I would be a registered sex offender for that.